What's up, guys? Matt here. If you're new, I really appreciate you clicking on the video. If you're returning, you guys, I had this entire video planned out and was gonna test this as a crawler motor at the end, and then I liked it so well I thought, you know what, I got to put this at the beginning so these guys can see how good this thing can be in the K5. So you're getting a little glimpse here, and then I'll talk about it towards the end of the video, but the install is in the middle. I'll put a timestamp in the description so you can check out what you want. But this thing has got some pep to it, and it's able to crawl plenty well enough that I'm going to leave it in here. You know, it's a little louder. You will hear it kind of grinding. I'm not sure if that's the motor or if the pinion is just hitting the transmission case a tiny bit. You'll hear me talk about having that issue with the FMS speed motor later. But watch this thing soar. Boom. Dang, this thing's got some punch now. So really excited to have this in my K5, just running the stock 2S battery. It crawled great, and it's definitely got the wheel speed now. What's up, guys? Matt here, coming at you with a quick look at this Evo motor. I've seen some people say that these are better than the speed motor from FMS for stuff like the Smasher. So we're going to check out the Evo or the 3030 King 50K Evo magnetic effect. This is a 50,000 RPM motor, and so this thing should haul. It reminds me of like the $6 motor. If you guys watched that video a long time ago, I put in one of these. I'm not sure if it will do any kind of like slow crawling or not, but if it has a decent slow range to it, maybe we'll throw one in the K5 or something and test that as well. But I was just curious how much speed we could get out of this, and if with this new like V2 controller ESC setup, if we got those stall or brownouts kind of that we get from the speed motor, where this thing will just kind of cut out if you go from full throttle to full reverse real quick. So this will require a little bit of work. So you're going to need your stock pinion. Those can be hard to get off. I'll show you here real quick how I kind of do it. So I usually kind of pin this thing against the 2x4 or the workbench here, and just get a screwdriver between the motor and the pinion and just start kind of prying, working it back and forth. Getting it off is not near as bad as getting it back on. So I usually just kind of start the pinion on the motor and then usually push it against the wood, and just it's really tough to get back on, to be honest, but you can do it, I promise. We're going to just turn around and use these stock motor wires. So when I get this motor out, we'll take the solder and iron, heat those up, move them over. Simple enough, but it does require a little bit of work, so just know that. But other than that, it should bolt straight in. So we're going to get started on it, and I'll show a little bit of the process, but really I just want to show you how this thing runs. We'll compare it to a stock motor for sure. And I don't actually have a Smasher around with speed motor in anymore. I think mine are brushless, but maybe we'll throw a speed motor in one just to kind of test that as well. So definitely curious to see how this thing runs. So let's get it installed. So you're just going to start with a 1.5 millimeter and remove the 4 screws on the bottom of the skid. That's going to free up the transmission so you can pull everything out nice and easy. After removing those 4 screws in the bottom of the skid, it's just a matter of holding your mouth just right and twisting this thing around to get that shift cable, linkage rod, whatever, out of the transmission, and then unplug your motor, pull everything out. Now you're just going to take the bolts out from the cover on the transmission, and then we'll get down to the bolts going straight into the motor. Next, we're going to remove these 2 screws holding the motor in place, and then once those are out, the motor is free. You may struggle getting it out of the case a little bit. You have to line up the pinion with the hole that is notched in the case. It is an exact fit to the pinion, so you may have to turn the pinion just a little bit, but you can see right there it is notched just for this pinion. So once you get that lined up, it'll slide right out. Then it's just a matter of swapping your wires over. There is a red dot on the new Evo motor on one of the tabs, so I put the red wire where the red dot was, and everything worked out fine. If your motor wires are backwards, it doesn't even matter. You can just reverse the throttle on your transmitter. No big deal. Magnetic Evo effect engaged. So it's very peppy. It's kind of like the $6 motor. It is quite a bit louder, but way faster than stock. Let's get it on the floor and see what it'll do. All right, so I went ahead, got the speed motor in the blue truck. The gray one is running the Evo, just because there's really no comparison between stock and either of these, but we're gonna find out who the king is right here. Okay, one more time. The gray truck on the left here has the Evo motor that we just looked at. The blue one has the FMS speed motor. Let's see which one pulls this off. 3, 2, 1. It's almost dead even, honestly. Kind of depends which one gets the jump and gets a little better traction. All right, one more time. It's just so close. I mean, they're almost exactly the same. Thing is not kicking off though on stock battery. Every now and then this one seems like it's cutting out just a little bit with this speed motor. And my steering servo is definitely something going on with it. See, it just stopped. Oh, there's that. Could be battery dying. So I was just trying short burst of forward, straight to reverse over and over with these, both of them, just to see if either one would kick off. The FMS speed motor did act like it wanted to kind of brown out for just a second, but it didn't actually have to shut the ESC off like we've had problems with. In some of them, some it does, some it doesn't. I don't know, but never had it do that once with this Evo motor. So take it for what you want. Somebody may get it in theirs and it cut off every time they do it. I don't know, but this is stock battery, stock everything, V2, ESC, and no issues. Okay, so this Evo motor performed almost exactly the same as the FMS speed motor to me. It is a little harder to install. As you've seen, you have to install the pinion, which can be a bear to get put on the motor. I had to just kind of start it by hand, and then I did the same thing like I did on the bench, just pushed that motor against the wood, kind of trying to get that pinion on. I did have to kind of lightly tap it, which, you know, is not good, can tear up your motor. It's pretty tough to get on, not gonna lie, but I didn't have any issues with this cutting out, you know, going straight from forward to reverse. But I didn't have much issue with the speed motor, as you've seen as well. So I don't know. It's up to you to kind of make that decision whether it's worth it to you or not. But I figured while we had a chance, we would see if this thing would crawl. So I switched the entire transmission and everything over to the K5 Blazer now. So we are in here. This does have, you know, the lock disc versus the open disc of the Smasher. So we're gonna go try this thing, see if it will crawl with the Evo motor. So you already know this thing can crawl. You've seen it earlier, but I thought I would put a little more running in here just so you could see it doing a little bit more. Pretty happy with the way this thing's running. I am gonna pull that transmission back apart, just see if that pinion could be rubbing the case a little bit, making it a little extra loud. It may just be the motor is louder. They do that sometimes. So that does take away a few scale points, but you can see this thing is an absolute beast, and it's like a freaking cat, man. It'll roll over and then it just bounce back. Watch. Nah, you thought you had me, but no, I'm good. I got this. This thing, lots of fun with all this wheel speed, so definitely going to be leaving this one in here. You guys let me know what you think about this. I'll leave you with some running. And check out my playlist. I've got tons of K5 stuff, lots of mods, and just having a blast with this thing. So hopefully you guys are too. I appreciate it, everybody. Peace.